For decades, American corn was the undisputed king of global agriculture, a symbol of U.S. economic power and rural prosperity. The endless rows of golden stalks stretching across the Midwest were more than just crops. They represented the backbone of countless communities and the pride of a nation that fed the world. But as of February 2026, that dominance has been upended by a series of bold moves in boardrooms and government offices far from the Midwest. Decisions made in distant capitals and corporate towers have rewritten the rules of the global food game, catching many by surprise. In 2025, two of the world's biggest corn importers, Mexico and China, shifted their business away from the US and toward Canada. This wasn't just a minor adjustment, it was a massive redirection of trade routes, contracts, and long-standing relationships. This realignment, worth billions, has sent shockwaves through American farming communities and global commodity markets. The impact was immediate, prices tumbled, uncertainty soared, and livelihoods were suddenly at risk. The implications go far beyond lost revenue. They touch on food security, national pride, and the future of rural America. Families who have farmed for generations now face questions about their future, and communities built on corn are grappling with an uncertain tomorrow. The heartland's rhythm, once set by global demand for its golden harvest, is now disrupted. The familiar cycle of planting and harvest has been thrown off balance, leaving many to wonder what comes next. Tonight, we'll break down how this happened, why it matters, and what it means for the future of American agriculture. We'll examine the forces at play and the decisions that led to this unprecedented shift. We'll explore the history of U.S. corn's rise, the pivotal events of 2025, and the reasons behind this dramatic shift. From trade negotiations to changing consumer demands, every factor played a role in this unfolding story. We'll hear from farmers, experts, and Canadian officials who seized the moment. Their voices will shed light on the challenges, the opportunities, and the human stories behind the headlines. This is more than a news report, it's a turning point for American agriculture, demanding our full attention. The future of the heartland, and perhaps the world's food supply, hangs in the balance. To understand the shock of this trade upheaval, we first need to look back at the roots of America's agricultural dominance and the sheer magnitude of its corn industry. You have to grasp the scale of America's corn empire, millions of acres stretching across the heartland, forming a patchwork of green that seems endless from the sky. For nearly 50 years, the U.S. wasn't just a player, it was the global corn market, setting prices and standards for the world. The Midwest's vast fields fed the world, with the U.S. as the top producer, consumer, and exporter. Every harvest, billions of bushels moved from these fields to ports, destined for tables and factories around the globe. Mexico, the world's largest corn importer, relied almost exclusively on the U.S., with trade routes and agreements making the partnership seem unbreakable. Generations of farmers and traders on both sides of the border built their livelihoods on this steady flow. Nearly all of Mexico's massive imports, over 16 million tons a year, came from the U.S., while Brazil and Argentina barely registered. This dependency shaped diets, economies, and even politics in both countries. China, too, counted on American corn, with the U.S. supplying nearly 40% of its imports between 2020 and 2024. American corn became a staple in global supply chains, feeding livestock and fueling industries. Together, Mexico, China, and Japan bought over 60% of U.S. corn exports, shaping the economic health of entire states. These relationships were the backbone of rural America's prosperity. This arrangement created stability and perhaps complacency. Generations of farmers came to expect that the world would always need their corn. The flow of corn was seen as a given, the foundation for futures loans and policy. It was the bedrock of rural economies and the security behind countless investments. But as 2025 proved, this empire was more vulnerable than anyone realized. The shockwaves of disruption exposed just how fragile this system could be. Its foundations rested on shifting global economics and politics, not on unbreakable law. The legacy of dominance, it turned out, was built on ever-changing ground. The numbers from 2025 tell a story of upheaval and transformation, a year when the global corn trade was turned upside down almost overnight. U.S. corn exports to Mexico plunged by 58%, dropping from over 16 million tons to just 6.8 million. A staggering loss for American farmers and exporters. Billions in revenue vanished, leaving American farmers reeling, their livelihoods suddenly uncertain as contracts dried up and fields went unsold. Meanwhile, Canada's exports to Mexico soared by over 700%, making it Mexico's primary supplier almost overnight, a dramatic shift in North American trade. Across the Pacific, China also pivoted, signing new multi-billion-dollar deals with Canada, eager to secure a stable supply of grain for its growing population. U.S. corn exports to China dropped by 30%, while Canada's shipments to China hit a record 5 million tons, further tilting the balance of power in global agriculture. The cumulative effect: U.S. corn exports fell to their lowest level since 2012, erasing years of steady growth in a matter of months. Even as the U.S. briefly reclaimed the title of top global exporter, these losses cast a long shadow, raising questions about the future of American dominance in the market. These aren't just numbers, they're lost contracts, empty grain elevators, and a wave of uncertainty sweeping across the Corn Belt, touching every community and family. The American corn empire is under siege, facing challenges from all sides in a future that looks more unpredictable than ever. The market realignment was sudden, decisive, and left the U.S. scrambling for answers, as policymakers and industry leaders searched for a path forward. The world's breadbasket had been forced to confront its own fragility, exposed by shifting alliances and the relentless pace of global change. The question now: can it adapt, innovate, and reclaim its place at the center of the world's food supply, or will this be the start of a new era in global agriculture? How did Canada pull off this stunning takeover? The answer: a blend of smart investments, government support, and a sharp read on global trends. Canada invested heavily in modern railways and expanded West Coast ports, creating a faster, cheaper route to Asia. While U.S. exporters struggled with bottlenecks, Canada offered reliability and lower prices. Canada also responded to Mexico's push for sustainable, non-GMO and heritage corn, investing in these niche markets. This gave Mexican buyers a compelling reason to switch. Climate resilience played a role too. Canada developed drought-resistant varieties and projected stability as U.S. weather grew more volatile. The result: Canada became the reliable, innovative partner global buyers wanted. In 2025, that made all the difference. While Canada surged ahead, the U.S. was held back by its own missteps. Aging infrastructure, congested railways, old river locks, and a truck driver shortage drove up costs and delayed shipments. Trade policy failed to lock in key markets. The Phase 1 deal with China lacked enforceable commitments, leaving the door open for competitors. Complacency set in. Many believed Mexico and China would never leave. Warning signs like Brazil briefly overtaking the U.S. as top exporter went unheeded. When buyers went shopping for better deals in 2025, the U.S. was caught flat-footed. Price and reliability now mattered more than loyalty. America's vulnerabilities, long ignored, became impossible to overlook. This trade shift isn't just about numbers, it's about people. In the Midwest, falling exports meant lower prices, shrinking incomes, and mounting stress for farm families. The pain rippled through rural communities, threatening local businesses and jobs. For many, it felt like a broken promise. Meanwhile, Canadian farmers saw a windfall: higher prices, booming demand, and new investment. Rural Canada thrived, while American heartland communities faced uncertainty. The contrast is stark. One nation's loss is another's gain. Behind every statistic are families and communities whose futures now hang in the balance. Experts agree. The U.S. missed key opportunities and made strategic errors. The Phase 1 deal with China lacked teeth, allowing competitors to swoop in. Canada's success wasn't just about price, it was about meeting buyers' values: sustainability, traceability, and non-GMO options. The U.S. was slow to adapt, treating these demands as niche. Analysts warn: America can't rely on reputation and volume alone. The world is more competitive, and buyers have more choices. Experts call for massive investment in infrastructure and a new, agile trade strategy. This isn't a temporary setback, it's a structural shift. To compete, the U.S. must innovate, modernize, and secure robust trade agreements. The message is clear: adapt or risk continued decline. The corn trade shock is rippling across agriculture and geopolitics. U.S. farmers may shift to other crops, risking oversupply and new economic challenges. The U.S.-Mexico relationship, once stabilized by corn trade, now faces new friction and uncertainty. Mexico's willingness to diversify could impact broader trade and political negotiations. Some U.S. regions, like New Mexico, may benefit by supplying niche, drought-resistant corn to buyers seeking specialty products. Globally, Canada's playbook is inspiring other nations to invest in infrastructure and sustainability. The era of a few dominant players is ending. Agility and strategy now matter as much as production. The agricultural world is becoming more multipolar and more competitive. The 2020 Nafsan, Bertumanastan, the 5.5 corn trade shift is a wake-up call for the U.S. It's a story of lost dominance, exposed vulnerabilities, and the urgent need for change. Outdated infrastructure, weak trade deals, and complacency led to this crisis. Leadership in agriculture isn't a birthright. It must be earned through innovation and investment. The path forward demands a national response, modernize infrastructure, secure robust trade agreements, and embrace sustainability. This isn't just a farmer's problem, it's a challenge for policymakers, industry, and the nation. The future of U.S. agriculture is unwritten. This crisis can spark decline or a great American comeback. The Midwest fields still hold immense potential, but only if matched by bold strategy. The wake-up call has sounded. Will America answer with the resolve needed to reclaim its place at the global table?